with developments quickly unraveling beneath the Great Pyramids of Giza. Many startling connections with countless past investigations are beginning to create a picture surrounding this ancient site, which is far different to that of the story long told, even claimed by the ancient Egyptians themselves, as the true original history and indeed purpose for not only the Great Pyramids, but practically the entire Giza Plateau as a whole. Although the team, as mentioned in our previous video, have now established that the structures beneath Khafre are now believed to sink over 2 kilometers into the earth, with many other enormous anomalies now believed to have somehow also once been placed at this depth. One of the most intriguing characteristics of this simply gigantic structure has to be that of its piezoelectric makeup, suggesting that whatever this thing was built for not only involved the utilization of vast volumes of water, but it would appear also generated enormous amounts of energy, and what's more, with the past presence of radioactive uranium, also known as yellow cake, once present, and it would seem stored in high volumes in and amongst the mastabas, long claimed as nothing more than tombs, which conveniently run all the way up to the foot of the 3 pyramids. This mysterious place may finally be beginning to make sense. With the most outlandish yet compelling of conspiracies surrounding this past possible function, theories which tell of not only the existence of a mysterious ether, but an equally mysterious 5th element, which they claim could have once been harnessed to open literal portals to another dimension, with our next item of interest seemingly adding more fuel to this intriguing fire. Throughout 2021 to 2023, a geophysical exploration employing ground-penetrating radar and electrical tomography was conducted upon the academically claimed Western Cemetery. They have found a strange-shaped anomaly resting hidden, just buried beneath the surface. Found amongst the many mastabas across the Giza Plateau, which due to these ancient deposits of yellowcake, may instead have once been storage containers of fuel, and as such, should be an area one would presume to pick up the existence of underground anomalies. What if the team have actually stumbled upon an ancient entranceway, one into this gigantic prehistoric mysterious structure? With this find of a strange L-shaped signature in the ground, one of these many entrances which have indeed been long written about in historical literature. Yet most intriguingly, the team have also noted that it is also of a highly electrically resistant configuration, further hinting that it perhaps a protected tunnel system once used in the maintenance of the structure. Although the academic team involved in the research are predictably reluctant to connect it to this massive and controversial recent development beneath Khafre, further exploration of the anomaly, which they are still claiming is found amongst ancient tombs and not ancient fuel cells, is set to be undertaken in the very near future, and thus will either prove my suspicions right or wrong. Although, with long recorded claims which I have recently covered, some even once made by Herodotus himself, known as the father of history, yet these alone suspiciously mocked for many years, detailing the existence of the Megaron, an enormous ancient underground complex, in which he only saw a small portion, which he testifies, has long been hidden beneath the Giza Plateau itself, and with the recent discoveries seemingly aligning with these long discredited claims, theories involving the ancient incorporation of a mysterious 5th element, said to have opened the ancient portals now seemingly found abandoned across the planet. The team would seemingly decide to release their discovery to the world on none other than that of the 5th of May. None of this does the academic world any favors when it comes to attempting to keep a lid on any of these groundbreaking and clearly history-rewriting discoveries from finally hitting the mainstream, and one has to wonder, have they inadvertently exposed one of these many hidden doors to the world? Discovered by scientists from Tohoku University, Higashi Nippon International University, and Egypt's National Research Institute, the underground anomaly is said to measure some 33 by 33 feet and is of such an unusual L shape and made of such bizarre, electrically resistant material, the team is convinced it is of an artificial nature. And with the team involved in the initial discovery beneath Khafra, now believing that it not the only one upon the Giza Plateau, having now even found signatures beneath that of Cheops and Menhuer, it would indeed seem that we are on the precipice of unraveling a massive chapter of Earth's lost history. One of such significance that it may reveal far more about our past, and indeed perhaps even ourselves, than any of us can currently imagine. And is a series of new discoveries I intend to cover in my next upcoming video surrounding the site. What is this giant thing beneath the Giza Plateau? What was the giant hydraulic pump now found within the step pyramid of Djoser once feeding? Was the entire plateau, as I had long postulated, due to the many enigmatically carved stairways found strewn across it, all once carved straight through, yet now seemingly leading nowhere, have long suggested, once one gigantic man-made structure? One built not only to incorporate the massive pyramids and allow them to sit plumb level for countless millennia, but to have once enabled ancient man to dig down many kilometers into the earth. To build something of such gigantic size, we are merely scratching the surface as to its true scale, and also just what it is that they were once doing down there all those years ago. It is a series of discoveries which I find highly compelling. With the recent developments beneath the Great Pyramid of Khafra continuing to develop, this, regardless of the many objections said exploration has predictably attracted from within the academic field. This concerted effort to prevent the rewriting of human history, it would appear began a long time ago, going as far back as to have even predated the Greeks. With such discoveries, just like within the modern day, encountering hostility purely for trying to bring such controversial truths to the masses. For it would appear, thanks to his literature, even during the time of Herodotus, rumors, and even the possible location of the entrances to these simply gigantic underground layers seemingly being hidden beneath the Giza Plateau were already known of. Now commonly referred to as the Father of History, born in 484 BC, he would recount within Book 1 of his series within Chapter 144 the existence of the, quote, Megaron of Egypt, a place the priests of Zeus would show him a limited portion of, telling him of a simply massive and secretly kept underground complex. He would describe seeing 345 colossal ancient wooden statues, each 4 meters in height. Thus, whatever it was that he was shown an enormous cavity in and of itself. Yet he would go on to reveal that this place in fact contains at least 3,000 similarly sized chambers, which the priests would not allow him to see, and upon revealing this to the world, Herodotus would experience much hostility towards this work, with many coming out to publicly mock the statements themselves, claiming that he had either made the whole thing up or that he was merely exaggerating. It would appear that even before the time of Christ, such discoveries being revealed to the world, already perceived as unacceptable by the powers that be. For how would one go about explaining how the ancient Egyptians, whom had apparently already been established and claimed as the creator of not only the Great Sphinx but the Great Pyramids, could have pulled such things off? His claims would subsequently be discarded and presumably stifled of any further research or attention. With this rumor of it being of pure fiction spread far and wide, this blemish would seemingly stick to Herodotus, regardless of the many details he included, not only describing how one of the priests had led him to these long ancient passages leading down into the room in which he had witnessed the gigantic ancient statues, but he even detailed just exactly it is where these entrances can be found, claiming that several secret entrances are located near, around, and going beneath the Pyramid of Hawara, located a short distance from the Great Pyramids themselves. One has to wonder, what is it that Herodotus was shown? What was it that these ancient priests were aware of? Was Herodotus shown the surface level of what we are now finally revealing to the world via the outside, With the utilization of Doppler scanning technology, perhaps the keepers of the secrets of Egypt, well aware of the existence of this vast underground space as far back as 2,000 years ago, yet due to its simply gargantuan size, and indeed its inexplicable nature, have hidden it from the world ever since. With Herodotus even told of the existence of an underground pyramid, which simply dwarfs that of the three upon the surface. Perhaps they are completely separate anomalies, only connected via their past, as yet to be established function. It does not explain, however, how an ancient civilization had the knowledge or indeed ability to have created these astonishing places, to have sunk columns some 240 by 240 cubits in diameter, cast of piezoelectric material, and shaped into helical coils some 2 kilometers, perhaps even deeper into the earth, whilst also carving out these simply gigantic ancient cavities as they went. What exactly were they doing beneath this enigmatic plateau? Are we really looking at the work of ancient humans? The questions remain unanswered, yet I find it curious that we have reports of the existence and presence of these underground anomalies, even a witness account and testimony from one of the most reliable historical figures of the ages dating back over 2,000 years, yet it too seemingly stifled and mocked, and thus successfully avoiding any mainstream attention for all this time, as if the same techniques used upon the work of none other than the father of history, techniques used to uphold the ancient Egyptian hypothesis, are still being used to this day. Who built the Great Pyramids? Who built these massive underground structures, ancient anomalies far larger than anything ever before witnessed or discovered upon the face of our planet? What is the Megaron? Why did they choose to hide its existence for so many years? Are we on the precipice of finally exposing the existence of these vast underground cavities to the world at large? What other realizations will these discoveries lead to as they develop? Far too many questions and too few answers. Yet, I will, of course, keep you all posted regarding this extraordinary development continuing to unravel across the Giza Plateau. The entire structure, and indeed its accompanying exploration going forward into the future, is an adventure of discovery, which I will continue to find highly compelling. Please don't forget to like and subscribe to support my controversial research here upon YouTube. Thank you. There are many unsolved mysteries still to be unraveled and decoded upon and within the Giza Plateau. Tunnel systems deep within the Great Pyramid, built to have 8 sides and covering hundreds of acres, built with such precision, only drifting mere centimeters from a perfect alignment over several thousand years, and perhaps far longer. The enigmatic so-called star shafts, once effortlessly cut through the entire pyramid, shafts a mere few inches wide, thus one can only explore them and what lay beyond with the utilization of robots. And also these explorations limited only to specific funded individuals who know to keep their mouths shut about what it is they are hiding. Thus, their purpose, indeed the entire pyramid's purpose, still unknown to the wider world, for I feel it indeed known by now, especially with modern robotic technology, yet this hidden, concealed, or simply untold. I say this for a number of reasons, one of which being the following theory as to the purpose of a set of puzzling boxes which lay deep under the earth, a theory which, if proven accurate, will blow the lid off this entire cover-up. The reason I mentioned the star shafts is due to the fact that during their construction, they too shared an incredible feature with the subject of tonight's video. That being the fact that whilst the structures were being built, and due to the inevitable waste that would be spilt and set aloft during these gigantic constructions, these shafts somehow once hermetically sealed, completely airtight and isolated, cut off from the elements. Eventually unsealed and rediscovered as we see them today. The giant stone anomalies within the Serapeum of Saqqara, however, were left perfectly sealed for millennia, completely air, water, and disaster-proof. Their lids weighing an incredible 20 to 30 tons each. These magnificent relics not sealed with compounds or mortar, but rather through the utter precision in which they were executed, being only a mere few microns out from perfectly level across each lid. they would seal shut perfectly, just via gravity. Rediscovered in 1850, this set of 24 incredible giant granite boxes, each once placed within their own individually carved sandstone grotto, deep below central Saqqara, separated by a walkway or veranda down the middle of the cavern, as if once utilized as some form of show gallery. The academic theory put forward for the purpose of these magnificent boxes is predictably the proverbial Old Faithful, that of an explanation of being none other than that of tombs. What's more, constructed merely for burying bulls as sacrifices to the gods, the size of these relics and the effort and accuracy involved, along with their specific characteristics, however, clearly all suggestive of a more profound past function. Along with these same institutions, universities and academies alike, all previously and continuing to assert even the pyramids themselves never nothing more than tombs, I find their explanation not only suspicious, but I feel a possible cover-up. It is at the very least a preposterous stance to take. However, as mentioned, an incredibly compelling theory has recently been put forward, which could explain why the boxes were placed where they were, deep underground, why they were constructed with such unusual characteristics as to have been so top-heavy, but also what they could have possibly been used for, or more accurately, what they could have been generating during the time in which they were once operational. Recently, explorations and experiments have been undertaken in a quest to understand the cause of a bizarre natural phenomenon known as earthquake lights. Enormous flashes of light, which are witnessed during earthquakes, beams of fluorescent energy so strong it refracts back off of the ionosphere, lighting up not only the sky and the air around one's being, but the entire earth below one's feet. They are emitted by rock, specifically occurring when bodies of granite are put under tremendous pressures. Whilst under stress, amazingly, granite emits enormous amounts of luminescence, which has led a number of independent researchers to use this phenomena to explain how no soot marks are visible on any of the ceilings of the Serapeum. For they believed that instead of burial tombs, these boxes were giant fermentation units. Units which could sustain pressures 1,000 times that of a car tire before the lids would inevitably pop off. Supporting this theory are not only the first illustrations of the boxes, witnessed to have had weights placed upon the lids to hold them down, but also, many millennia later, when the box is rediscovered, all that would remain is remnants of yeast and indeed bull bones used during the fermentation process. This process not just lighting the Serapeum for the charge that would be generated and released, as the quartz came under such tremendous pressure, would have not only made the interior glow, but would have charged up the ionosphere above to such a degree the air and even the ground itself would have glowed across the entire plateau. Undoubtedly an incredible sight to behold, and if confirmed beyond doubt, an astonishing alteration of the mainstream historical understandings, especially in regard to what these ancient builders knew, and indeed what else they could have been up to. Quote, "As the granite boxes experienced mechanical stress, electric charges would appear. The charges typically are dispersed toward the ground surface. When the charges reach the surface, they ionize air pockets above the ground and would have lit the sky above Saqqara. The giant Serapeum sarcophagi used to generate electric charges with pressure, built inside by CO2 gas. The pressure put on the quartz crystals created electric charges on the surface of the sarcophagi. Those charges were then dispersed from underground toward the ground surface. The released charges would have ionized the air above Saqqara, causing the air to glow." End quote. These giant boxes were clearly built for a purpose, and not to simply bury bull sacrifices. For if they were, they would have at least been mummified, and not simply bones. They would not have been constructed to be some 40 tons in weight, and they would especially not had lids constructed deliberately to weigh over 25 tons on their own. It is a theory that could quite possibly turn out to be their true purpose, one that will demand a long overdue complete overhaul of what we have all been taught are ancient Egyptian relics. It is a theory which I find highly compelling.